Welcome back, everyone, to Data Science for Everyone. Today, we're going to be talking about classes in JavaScript. Let's get started. So, classes are a powerful programming tool for generating multiple objects with shared characteristics and behaviors. They're a core part of object-oriented programming, a style of coding that revolves around creating objects and contain both data and functions for manipulating that data. In object-oriented examples, in programs, you might want to maybe represent an employee as an object called an employee class. Now, each of these can also be, so for example, maybe you have a manager, and each of these could be a manager class, or you could have a customer as a customer class. Now, these classes would establish what kind of data an employee or a manager should have and would include functions to make them do certain things. Okay, so you could maybe keep some information about them, such as their name, their salary, what their job entails, maybe even calculating up their salary or their bonuses, etc. So how about we actually talk about creating classes? So classes in a class is like a template for making a standardized object. So we've talked about objects in previous videos that have compound data types consisting of key value pairs, and we saw how to create those manually by writing out an object literal. Now, classes automate this process. Now, this allows us to instead create up objects using syntax similar to creating up a function. So there are two main things that lays out what a class is. So first off is the properties of each object in the class should have, what those properties are. So remember that property is a term for a key value pair in an object. Now two, the functions the object should have access to. So when we define we've defined and we've called a part of a class, functions are actually methods. Now, so in our example, we could maybe create up an employee class, and they might have properties such as the name, the salary, and the position that they have. Now, it also might have a method for calculating up their yearly salary, or maybe even calculating up their yearly salary, okay, utilizing the monthly salary, or you could even calculate up their bonuses. Now, the class should be created for multiple different employees as well. So objects are created utilizing instances, and each employee's let's call them each employee itself would need to be an instance of the employee class. So let's go on and actually create up a new file here, and I will call this class example HTML. And I already have one, but we'll replace it. So let's go on and create up our basic outline here. So we'll do body and script here. So let's create up a class, and we'll call this employee. And then we have a constructor here, and it will take in name and monthly salary. And then it will have this, use the this, and we will say name is equal to name, and we'll have this dot monthly salary is equal to monthly salary. And let's also go on and maybe do a console log, something like employee name and we'll do name, and then let's do log again here, and we'll do employee, or let's just call it monthly salary. Salary. Monthly salary. All right, and so that'll be nice to have the console log in there. Now, the next thing that we can do is calculate annual salary. And this is going to return our employees' monthly salary. And hold on just 1 second. Let me take a look. All right, let me go back up here. This is, make sure that we have everything where it needs to be here. Oh, we need the backtick here. There we go. And so let's go on and actually go back and create up the calculate annual salary function. And it will return, here we want, what will we have it return here? Let's say it's this dot monthly salary. And again, to make this yearly salary, we'll multiply that out by 12. Good. So let's kind of deconstruct this before we actually utilize it and play with it. So first off, we start off with the class keyword to indicate that we're going to be creating up a new class, and that's followed by the class's name. Here is going to be employee. Now, it's customary for classes to be named uppercase. Next comes the class body. So that's everything inside of here. And it's going to be enclosed by braces or squiggly brackets, just like a function body. Now, inside the body, we're going to define two methods here. The first one is the constructor, okay? And then the second one will be the calculate annual salary. Now, the constructor, if this class has the method, again, called constructor, as our employee class does, that method will be called automatically anytime you create an instance of this class. Now, the constructor performs any necessary setup for the object being created, including receiving any parameters that define the instance, laying out the properties that the object should have. So in this case here, these properties are the name and the monthly salary. Now, next up is our method here, and it's the calculate annual salary method. And this updates the employee's monthly salary. So again, if we ever change the monthly salary, it would actually put out this annual salary. So let's go on and give this a try here. I'm just going to copy this for now, and we'll go to Google Chrome, and I'm just going to paste it in. Just so that we can play with it. Now, to create up a new employee, so let's actually give this, let's say let Bob equal here new employee, and again, their name is Robert, and their salary will be, let's say, $5,000 a month. Okay, so again, we see here this worked out quite nicely. New employee, Robert, monthly salary, $5,000. Okay, and again, these are the console logs that we had. So now we want to actually calculate up Bob's a yearly salary. So we can say Bob calculate annual salary. Oh, and notice here, now it pops out with $60,000. That worked out exactly how we wanted it to. Now, this is us declaring a new instance of an employee class. So what exactly is going on here? Okay, well, we can see here that objects are created are known as instances, all right? Now, each individual here is going to actually have their properties, as we've seen here, again, these Roberts and these calculated. Now, when we actually go on to calculate them, we utilize this new keyword, Okay, so and this is going to be followed by the class name. And then after the class name, we're going to write in parentheses, we're going to write in the arguments that we're expecting here. So in this case, we're going to use calculate in Robert for the name and some monthly salary. So what is actually happening in the background here? Well, first, a new empty object is going to be created. Okay, and then a hidden link from this object to the class is created, which is how JavaScript is able to actually say to create the class of the object and what methods the object should therefore have access to. The next thing that happens is the class's constructor method is called automatically, and so I can actually maybe go over here so we can take a look at it. Okay, that constructor is going to be taken into account here. And again, it is going to be passing in those parameters for this of name and the salary. Okay. And let me maybe take a second also while we're at it to talk about this. Okay. So this is actually this is actually a keyword, okay, that is serves as a placeholder for a new object's name. So let's maybe talk about it this way. This again is a keyword and refers to the current instance that has been created. So in this instance, if we created a Bob, so it's Bob is technically the instance that this is, okay? So if we make up another one like of Emma, well, then this is the instance of Emma. All right, so that's what it is actually holding and it refers to, okay? So now the next kind of step in this that we had talked about, okay, we had talked about that constructor, we'd mentioned the this statement. Now the next thing that also does, after the constructor method has been called and the new object is returned, the next thing that it's going to do is actually hold all of this so that we can access it later on. So again, in our example, it's going to create up that new object with a hidden link, and it's going to call this constructor class for us. And then, that constructor method, sorry. And it's going to pass in our arguments. And then in this instance, we had Robert, and we had, I believe, $5,000 monthly salary to the constructor. And then that's going to be creating up these name parameter and the monthly salary parameter. So finally, again, once that is returned, it is actually going to be saved inside of Bob. Okay, so one nice thing about this is that we can also go grab Bob and do name, and that'll spell out Robert for us. We can also do our instance of Bob and do monthly salary, and we can now access that monthly salary of $5,000. We have access to the object's properties. Okay, so in these instances, again, we could even make up another instance here. So let's do one more just so we show that this isn't. Let's do let Emma here, and she's going to be a new employee, and her name is. Let's just do Emma, and she's making $8,000 a month. Okay, so now we have Emma. She's a new employee. She's making $8,000 a month. So then what is her, again, we have it printed out here for us, but let's say that you want to maybe print out a monthly pay stub, okay? So again, that's something common that we would be wind up doing in some company. So you would say something like, I don't know, so Emma dot name is making Emma dot monthly salary Okay, and notice now Emma is making $8,000. So again, you can have all of this nice information coming out, and you can do that. Now, the next thing that we want to talk about, though, is we've created up this employee class, right? Now, what if we wanted to build onto it? So we can actually create up an inheritance. So what is inheritance? It is a mechanism that an object-oriented programming utilizes, defining relationships between different classes. So just as a child inherits genes from its parents, a child class inherits properties and methods from its parent class, taking into account that parent's properties and methods. And again, this is very useful when you have multiple classes that share general set of behaviors with each other. So let's go on and create up another example. So now let's create up a manager class. Okay, and so let's go back over here, and we have our employee, and let's go on and create up a class, and it is going to be manager, and we're going to extend the employee class. Okay, so if you see here, what's happening is manager extends employee. So now it's going to be inheriting some information from the employee. And so how do we do that? We're actually going to say constructor name, monthly salary, and we're going to add something new. So department. Great. Now, the next thing that it is going to do is it is going to go about, we want to grab, notice these two, name and salary, are inside of our employee. So we can say this, we can say super name and monthly salary, and it's going to grab a hold of the information from above. Okay, now we need to still deal with the department, so we can say this dot department to actually create up those that other information here. So, and while we're doing that, let's do a little bit of cleanup really quickly. All right, so, all right, now, great. We've extended the class and specifically the constructor section here, but let's also grab and let's actually update this calculate annual salary section. Okay, because again, managers are usually a little bit higher up, and maybe they have some benefits that the normal employees don't have. Okay, so let's go on and calculate annual salary. And we're going to update this just a little bit here. And we're going to have a constant of a base salary here, and that will be this super dot calculate annual salary. And again, that super here is talking about this up here, okay? And again, I'll go into depth more about the super here in a minute, but just think about this as this super is going to say, oh, it's going to be what's above, okay? So, great. Now let's do const here, and we want the bonus, and let's say that the bonus is 10%. All right, so then let's do something like log and say bonus 10% of the base salary. And we'll say here, again, we want it to spit out the bonus. All right, good. Now, the last thing we want to do here is return up our bonus calculation. So we'll do bonus multiplied by our base salary plus our base salary. Now again, we could have done this in a couple different ways. We could have said 1 plus our base salary multiplied by base salary. Or we could have done it a couple other ways. We could have said that this was 1.1 to be the bonus for calculating that up and multiplied by the bonus as well. But again, this is just one other way that you could have done it. All right, so now let's take a quick discussion of what super means. So this super keyword in here is a fantastic thing, or maybe it's a super thing if you want to get funny about it. But inside this subclass, the super keyword refers to the constructor from the super class. Again, this here, our employee is the super class. Okay, and so anytime that you see this super, again, it is saying, oh, check your super class, and then you'll be able to grab all of that information inside of there. So a couple things that we can also do with this is we could potentially even make up another class built on the manager if we wanted to. And we could do something that would say we want to extend this to maybe make like a district manager class or something of that sort as well. But we can leave that for another time. Now, I want to go in and let's go on and actually let's play with this. And so we're going to go on and grab this whole thing again. We'll take it over to our console and let's run it. And so let's actually play with it a little bit. Okay, so again, we can do this very similarly to how we made our employee classes. So let's say let Jake equal manager, and we need a name. So let's actually, Jake is for Jacob, and he is making $10,000 a month, and he is in the data science division or department of the company. Oh, that's and notice here, look, it says here, class constructor manager cannot invoke without new. Well, again, I am trying to make a new manager. Well, I cannot do that because I did not utilize the new keyword. So let's go on up here and say new and run it. All right, great. So now we have an employee name, Jacob, monthly salary is $10,000. And so then let's go on and calculate up Jake's annual salary. Okay, so again, bonus as 10% of the base salary. Okay, and he would be making $120,000 a year. Add in $12,000 to that, and we would be getting $132,000 for his annual salary. So I hope that is actually useful for you guys. Again, this is something that we'd be able to calculate and utilize all the time. Just as before, we can do Jake.department. And it says it is undefined. Did we forget to put in our department? Oh, we did here. Notice we have this .department, and I did not make it specifically department. Again, you need to always go through and double check all of your items so that you know when things are working, when things aren't. So again, I'm going to go over here. I will copy everything. Again, my guess is some of you guys were screaming at me before. All right, and now notice Jake comes out from the data science department. Okay, and again, let's double check to make sure everything works here. Let's do name, Jacob. We have Jake dot monthly salary is $10,000. All right, so we've checked everything that works, and so good. Now, a couple things that we can also do. Now, we have code in here that we've used in each of these. So we can say, for example, Jake instance of, and let's say, is he an employee? That is true. Okay. So then is Jake instance of manager. Oh, whoops. That's lowercase Jake. True. Okay, so now let's go through and let's actually let's recreate up our Bob. Here, new employee, Bob, and he's making, let's say, $3,000 a month. Okay, so now we can say Bob is instance of employee. True. Now though, is Bob instance of manager? Now it gives us false. Okay, so again, this is what we should be expecting. Okay, an employee is an instance of an employee class. However, an employee is not an instance of a manager class. So this is a great way to be able to utilize this type of thing. So we can see, for example, with our Jake example, right? So he inherited things from the superclass of employee. So yes, he's an employee, but he is also a manager. So you can see how if you were grabbing information and creating up a program for a company, how this could be very useful to you. So today we've covered the basics of JavaScript object-oriented programming. We also learned how to create classes and how to create instances and extend those classes, utilizing subclasses and superclasses. So we also talked about how you can utilize these in a potential business atmosphere. If you guys like this information and you want more of it, please comment, subscribe, and hit that like button, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.